Are you ready, Janice? Okay, it's a 5:02, and we're going to call this meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. Roll call shows all members of the committee are present, and will entertain approval of the minutes from July 7th. Committee?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of July 7th.
I'll second that.
Any comments or changes to the minutes? Seeing that we have none, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next, will anybody in the audience for public comment? Doesn't look like anybody's here. Okay, then we will move on to new business, zero-turn lawnmower purchase. Scott?
Evening, everyone. Some of you may remember back to 2020, we had 2 zero-turn mowers in the budget for 2020. And due to some concerns over COVID and how that was going to affect the budget, that was something we held on to and didn't purchase. That money was eventually carried over into 2021. Here tonight to request funding to replace those. These mowers will be a direct replacement for 2 aging units in our fleet. And we did go ahead and get 3 proposals from area suppliers. Those results are listed in the backup. We're recommending purchasing 2 mowers from Bobcat Plus in an amount not to exceed $28,970. That funding, if approved, will be out of account 10-553-570-8100. Happy to answer any questions about the mowers and the mower.
Okay. Committee, any questions or comments? Motion?
Motion to approve the purchase from Bobcat Plus Inc. for $28,970.
Second.
Second?
So question, I saw that there's a limited availability about these. Are we looking at probably the 2022 or we
No, actually, Bobcat Plus has 2 mowers. Like
Oh,
pretty
they
much
do?
once this passes board, we get final 2, 3, and they'll be here, which is kind of a unique thing for us right now. So
More comments?
It's just good to see it has a Briggs and Stratton engine on it also. I looked for that first. There's a 3-year, am I right? There's a 3-year warranty on that? that-
3.
Is that a limited,
I thought there
Yeah,
was
there's a certain number of years and a certain number of hours. Sorry.
2,000 hours it says, right?
Yeah. 36 months or 2,000 hours, whichever comes first.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Anything else? So vote, all in favor? Aye.
I,
Opposed? It's unanimous. Authorization of towel and floor mat agreement.
Yeah, so this is again in the buildings and grounds side. Help manage a contract that takes various shop towels and the rugs that we all walk on as we're around the buildings here. And that is currently a 3-year agreement that's ending the end of the month here. We did tour the locations with companies, area companies. We reached out to 5 of them. 2 of them stopped out to take a look. And, that service is, again, around the village, and it covers 11 of our buildings. The ITU AbsorbTech came in with a number of 10,353.68. They're the incumbent right now. The nice thing is they've got no increases built into their 3-year agreement. And then UniFirst, of course, came in a little bit higher, and they have a 3% increase each year 2 and year 3. So we're recommending sticking status quo with ITU AbsorbTech. And that funding, if approved, would come out of 10-5-1-9-5-30-3500. Still no maintenance account.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the contract with ITU AbsorbTech, provide the services paid for out of account number 10, 519, 530, 3,500.
I'll second.
Discussion?
I, I'm just going to ask you, I gather you're pleased with the service you've got from ITU?
Just a little bit,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
I'm gathering you're satisfied
Yes.
with the service that you've had from
Yes, we are.
ITU?
They've been a great company. We've actually, the village has been using it a long time.
Okay.
Anything else? A voter? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. Moving on to consideration of an invoice from Myers Masonry for the, I guess, the big village sign.
That'd be mine. So this is for Myers Masonry for the masonry tile work for the new electronic message center. I didn't bring this forward earlier because I was actually waiting to get a proposal from him, but the work was done, and it includes the village did the excavation and the concrete foundation work, everything from there up. So the block you see, the limestone caps, the setting of the post. All the block work and the tile work is all included in this contract complete. And it's all satisfactory. And I think they did an excellent job with how they did everything out there. And they helped guide us a lot too with the tile. It's all exterior grade tile with exterior grade grout. I installed tile. I never used a two-part epoxy grout. It was it was scary to mix it up. They got to get in. You got to get it wiped down. You can make sure it's there where you want it to be. It isn't much too forgiving, but it dries up and hardens, and it's impenetrable. It's waterproof. Everything is set to last forever on that sign. Hopefully, no one actually leaves the road and drives into it or anything.
Don't even
so.
say that.
So they did an excellent job. They also were the company that did the block work for our Renwood lift station, and that's contacted them. I contacted 3 masonry groups. 2 of them did not, or one did not even respond. The other one just said it's just too small of a job. These small jobs are for specific contractors who want to do these kind of particular jobs. They do a lot of signs. They do. They were doing the brown deer sign. They were doing a sign for a school district in Burlington, I think. They do a lot of these signs. So looking for a committee approval, and it'll be passed on to the board if the motion could be to pass it on to the board.
Ray?
I just asked what the $250 additional was for. I know.
It was, so to get the tile, I couldn't find the tile size we needed. I had to buy bigger sheets of tile. They were 12 by 24 inches. And so the tile subcontractor to Myers Masonry had to actually cut them all. He charged us a fee to cut all the tiles to the exact size. Actually, they're a little bit smaller than 6-inch to allow for the grouting and fit and everything. Well, that's what the extra dollars were for.
I would move for the approval of the invoice for $15,250 by is that masonry tile work?
Myers Masonry.
Or, I'm sorry, Myers Masonry.
I'll second that.
More discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
You?
Moving on to the 2021 annual seal coating project. Larry, that's yours too.
Yes. Coating project is running a little bit late this year. We tied it into our overall concept we want to do is we did the Pazer rating this year earlier. We had an injury from grave to the Pazer rating, and then we wanted to base the seal coating and start a concept of an annual program based on the condition of the roads. And we wanted to wait till after this Pazer rating was done this year. So we put it out for bid. We had one bid from Farner Asphalt, who has done seal coating projects in the village since I've been here. The bid was for $495,920. There is a list of roads. I did not supply that here, but there is a list of roads that would be covered. I can get that out if we need to. Asking for approval.
I think, didn't we, Larry, see the list of roads?
We did for this, and I don't think it changed much from what we had out there. They can get it done this year yet, if we get it awarded through the process today, through the committee and the village board. They have committed to getting this project done this year. And this also includes the parking lot at Freistadt Park. Seal the parking lot at Freistadt Park, and that would be coming under the parks budget for this year. So some of these funds would be covered in the parks budget.
Quick question. Reason we only had one bid, is it because it's later in the year and, or is it
It's just typically we get one bid.
really?
Typically, Farner is the bidding contractor that we receive. Several years ago, there was another contractor, I don't want to, pardon? And they were not low. They just haven't come back to bid. Even when I was in West Bend, Farner did all the seal coating in West Bend. It seems like they're
Specialize in.
specialize it and
know it.
and have the process down to where they can be pretty cost effective. We've always been satisfied with the work. As far as I know, they do quality work. I met with the gentleman from Farner to discuss the bid and the process and time-wise, and he said, like I say, if it gets awarded through the process today, that he will commit to getting it done this year.
Ready?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2021 annual seal coating project to Farner Asphalt Services in the amount of $490,020.
I'll second.
Any more comments or discussion? Yes.
Larry, as far as budget, what did we have in for budget for seal coating?
So the budget had $482,000 in it. Some of that will be spent for Scott's Materials for the crack filling materials. So it comes a little short. But in going through the bid with the contractor, his bid numbers are in the two main areas of the GSB 88 and the flex patch are lower than ours. My estimate after talking to him, this project will come in closer to about $420,000 for us. We overbid the quantities.
Okay.
Second. More comments? Vote, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Finally, Holy Hill Road Water and Sewer Extension.
So this project is the extension of sanitary sewer and water main from Gateway Crossing by Briggs Building to the west end of what we would build out on Holy Hill Road, which is about the street, if you call it B Street or 48th, over by the mobile station. The water main would go past that 50 to 60 feet past it west, but the sanitary sewer stops approximately at that street. And then the plans call for a manhole to be constructed to the south side right-of-way of Holy Hill Road, near the driveway that goes into the storage units, just on the east side of that driveway. The reason it has to stop there is that's where our sanitary sewer district line ends currently. But it's designed to be extended west towards the old lumber yard and the current marine storage area. If that area would ever get developed, we can serve that gravity from sanitary sewer. So that's that. We want to get this in before Holy Hill Road is reconstructed. And the funding of this is through the TID 8 district.
Ready?
Is this going to service the south side of the Holy Hill Road? Is that why this is getting extended?
It's getting extended to get it out of the construction area of Holy Hill Road for one. And to serve that southwest property, the marine area, that storage area, the old lumber yard. That's the biggest reason for it getting in. These two lines will be built in the shoulder of the current roadway, but end up in the pavement of the new roadway. So we would like to get them constructed before.
I have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the project to Khrushchev Construction in the amount of $1,555,550. $5.55. Plus, you want the contingency on there as well.
If I could.
correct my motion then to say with the contingency not to exceed $1,633,332.50.
I'll second.
Second, I like the 55 cents. It's interesting. Any more comments on discussion? And we'll vote, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Which brings us to a look at the project update that Larry has put together for us. Larry, anything that you want to highlight and here?
The only thing I'd like to highlight, because it's a topic of discussion of late within the village, is number 3 with the elevated water tank. We did start taking delivery of the base section of the water tower. That was discussed previously at a board meeting, that we would continue to let the project proceed as if there would be no changes. The amount quoted to the board at the time of the cost to change to the higher tower incorporated replacing this material. So the only thing I just want to make sure we point out that everybody's clear on that this material brought here is for the Germantown Height Tower, we'll say. Otherwise, everything's going well. The new well, we presented to the DNR the end of last week, 40-some page document justifying the testing we did, justifying the outcome we feel we achieved to go with a shallow well. So it's currently in the DNR's hands for review. We were approved for the deep well through the sandstone aquifer, but if we want to go to a shallow well, you have to resubmit and for the shallow well. The reason being is they have strong concerns when you go to a shallow well, you're going to affect surface waters, wetlands, creeks, rivers that, you know, if they're percolating through, you could affect them. We monitored all of that through our testing. We really pumped more than a regular well would pump. A regular well in the village goes on for 2 to 3 hours at a time. We ran that pump at a very high volume for 71 hours straight. And we found that we had, monitoring the creeks, we had no loss of water elevation in the creek, or 5 of the neighboring wells we tested had what they would consider a normal drawdown to not affect the wells in those houses at all.
A question on that. And we originally planned for a deep well, correct?
Correct.
And is it just cost that we're looking at a shallow well now?
It's a great savings to the village. Probably just capital savings alone, if we could build a shallow well, would be about $1 million.
Right.
The annual,
I was going to say maintenance has got to be much easier.
and the savings in the not having to remove the radium, they estimate at about $64,000 a year.
Okay. And I guess we'll find out, but I am assuming they project, despite different weather changes and things that are happening in the world, that this shallow well will continue to perform for the village of Germantown without any effect on the surrounding community
That's the
wells.
determination. That
Okay.
determination is made. And we feel also that we have 2 shallow wells in the village now, 5 and 7, just across the street here. And we believe Gels is in that same aquifer. And, you know, like they say, this well, we could have been 40 feet over in another spot and not hit this fracture line that we hit, that the water can flow through at the rate we need it to flow through. So it's not something anybody can really predict, and you can't pinpoint, say, drill here and you're going to have a shallow well. It was just the well people, we had to recognize the potential. And when we did the testing, it concluded that we could flow the water we needed to flow. That original well was only approved for about 680 gallons a minute. We were pumping 800 gallons a minute. Pass it out. The drawdowns were not extreme. We could have gone a lot further with it.
Okay.
So that's why they feel that there's sufficient water supply to handle that.
Speaking just of wells for a second, I did get a phone call from a resident who would like to know, have an update on when we're painting the tower on Mequon Road.
I'm really not involved with it so much, but I would say 2 years.
Oh, I thought we were having that done.
I'm not sure where the volume of money is, unless Steve can speak to that.
Okay. Yeah, actually, that would, because we had originally planned on doing it, and then COVID came. And so it's been put off. I didn't realize.
I know we had a fund set up. We were depositing money in every year, and we had sufficient funds. I just don't know if that's there or
Okay.
not anymore.
back and check, but I believe that that was delayed because of lack of funds.
Because of COVID specifically.
I don't recall the COVID connection. I think just because of the lack of funds, there was a reserve that was set up, but
Okay.
the water utility have last year that negative operating revenues. I've been looking at other facets of the water
Okay.
utility. I haven't looked at that in a while, but my recollection is that it was postponed because.
Okay, yeah, I recall us about a year ago going through what it should look like and sending that to the, I guess, the building committee to determine colors and whether we'd have the flag on it. And then after that, it just kind of dissolved. I never heard anything else.
Well, we're doing that also for the new tower that's being built.
Yeah.
And we do have a color scheme that's gone through a second review now. And I think, I'm not sure if we would take it back to the building committee or not, trustee Baum would know better, but we will. We are, but I don't know if that goes back to committee and then to board, but it's close to coming to the village board for,
So basically, the one on Mequon Road, due to lack of funds at this point in time, it's been put off for at least a year and a half, 2 years.
We'd like to get these painted as soon as possible.
Yeah.
It depends, we have an update for the village, which is going to replenish those
Okay.
funds. And then it's a matter of projects that have been on hold, getting those up and running. So I would say within 2 years, that work will be.
All of them or just that one in particular?
As we've had some conversations about this in the past, I think we'd recommend staggering them out to some extent so that we don't get in a situation have 4 water towers that all need at the same time again.
cost of painting a water tower is probably around $500,000 to sandblast and paint and put an emblem on.
Well, thank you for the update. Yeah, I'll pass that along.
Larry, I have a question on the well. So I'm sure that at some point there's going to be a resident around there that's going to say his well is bad or something happened to it or something occurred. Does the DNR determine the area that could be affected by this well or is affected by the well? You're saying there's nothing affected right now and they're going to review all that, but what kind of recourse happens or what's the process for something like that?
So my understanding is if a person's well is harmed by our new well, they go in and say they have to lower their well pump and we determine it's due to our well going in, it's most likely something that the village water utility would have to incur the cost of. We've done everything the DNR would expect us to do in monitoring during our test. And we really did some severe pumping. We pumped the daylights out of that well. And that water went down 21 feet, which is well 5 and 7 here. When those go on, Paul Hogan told me they go down 60 feet. So ours went down 21 feet, I think, through a 72-hour pump. It's sort of amazing that that's all it did. So they feel very confident that the supply of water is there. And the intermittent pumping we would be doing there to fill that tower in the water that's being used would not mimic 5 and 7 pumping every 3 hours for 4 times a day or something like that. So they feel that we tested, we had a well we monitored in the subdivision named just north of there. We had a lot of residents coming down through this whole process questioning the quality of their wells and if we put a well in. That well only, I think the drawdown was 3.5 feet on it. The biggest drawdown was up by the Rao property, which is the furthest one north. But that well was 280 feet deep. And I think that was because it was deep, we affected that layer of aquifer more than the shallower 150-foot wells. It's really kind of a wrong thing. But the geologist we had, the hydrologist we had on is well known in the area, and they kind of put like theories to it. They don't have an exact answer. It's kind of like theories of why these things happen. But all the people involved feel very confident that it will have very little effect on surrounding wells.
Okay.
So
I might be getting calls, that's why I'm asking.
yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'd like to get as much information out as we can. The only thing I'd like to point out is you gave us approval and we submitted for an HSIP loan That's similar to what we received for the intersection improvements at Freistadt and Maple. And this one was submitted, it was submitted last week, at the end by last week Friday. And that's for the intersectional work at Landon and Maple. Mequon and Maple by the Quick Trip, that intersection. I first saw the geometric improvements last week when it was done. And it would be to correct the two major turning movements, I think, of the eastbound to go southbound, where people drive over the shoulder and the curb right now to do it. And then it would create a turning movement northbound to go eastbound. So it would create a lane there. So if we are fortunate to get this grant, it's a 90-10 grant. And yet estimated cost work is around $690 or $790,000.
Just by widening that south side?
Well, there's some turning movements to the north, westbound to turn north onto Maple. There are a lot of rear end accidents in that intersection. So it's actually a very dangerous intersection, a lot of rear end accidents. People think they're going to go and you're the second one and you go because you thought they're going to go and they didn't go. And they're attributing that to poor vision of traffic lights and controls and a not quite correct turning movement. Radius of it is what they determined. So we applied for that grant. And I think we find out at the end of the year is when they issue the awards and grants. But the traffic people that did it for us, Taddy, they felt very confident and they have a very good success rate when they apply for these grants.
Good.
And that's been an intersection that I've had complaints on and comments on since I've started here, especially the right turn to go south and the right turn to go east off of Maple.
I think we've all gotten phone calls on, especially the right turn going east. Okay, anything else? Any other questions about?
Any update on the railroad crossing on Freistadt?
We had a court hearing on that, virtual court hearing on that last week, and to hear both sides. And it appears, and we haven't had a judgment given to us yet. We're expecting that in 30 to 60 days first.
Okay.
But if I were to guess how it was going to go, we proposed to create a bit of a wider turn towards the sidewalk in each direction. And that would give, and some signage that would direct bicyclists to widen out and then come across the tracks at a less of an angle. And that seemed to be an acceptable approach to solving the issue. And we'd have to still put the curbed islands in the twiddle areas.
Sure.
But that was approved, but then they decided that the bicycle crossing was too steep. We had no reports of any accidents or happenings there, but we had to make some sort of idea on how to correct it. And that seemed to be one that had been seen before in other areas like this. So that's what we're proposing. We won't hear for 30 to 60 days, but.
Okay.
Anything else? At this point, then, we will close this meeting. We will, guess, first of all, when would you be able to meet again? I don't think there's any point in doing Wednesday, September 1st. That's only 2 weeks from now. How about the week of the 5th? Okay, the 7th, or are you still tied up on Tuesdays, Rick?
Should be okay.
Okay.
Barring any rain out.
So you want to do Tuesday or
We can do
Wednesday?
No, we can do 7th.
You sure that'll work? Okay. Now, how about Tuesday, the 7th? We'll go back to our winter schedule of Tuesdays, and that'd be at 6 p.m. Okay? That works for everybody? Okay, and with that, we will close this meeting at 5:30, looks like 5:30 on the dot. Thank you, everyone.